You are live. Hi, everyone. You need to comment so we know you're there. One comment. Adam. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Are you hearing me on something else, knowing that I'm coming through?
Oh, now it
Oh,
just
there we are. There's Lori. Hello. There's Deb. Good morning, Deb. It's afternoon where I am. Tammy, hello there. Good to see you.
Hi, everyone. Tammy, Lori, Deb, and Adam is who I see on the chat.
Melissa.
Oh, now they're coming in.
Wendy.
Lori from PE.
Ocean, Lori. Yes. Hi, Lori. Bonnie.
Oh, we got everybody who's in there.
Hi,
Perfect.
the other Debbie.
Yes, I believe there's 3 Debbies. There's 2 Debbies and a Deb, and then we had 2 Heathers. I think we have 2 Wendy's as well.
Okay, I think I only know. Oh yeah, there was 2 Wendy's on the list. Gets very confusing if you don't give us where you're from or something to identify you. There's Linan. Linan, I have a question for you. I'm sitting here looking at this screen and I don't see anywhere to push to show a video. Can you answer my problem?
Kathy's here.
Hi, Kathy. Guess you didn't have any trouble with your power.
We got 2 Debbies.
Linan is awful quiet. I think in order to show video, we have to have the paid version of StreamYard. I think that's our problem.
We do have a backup on my tablet. Judy and I were discussing prior to this.
Yes,
yes,
we are in StreamYard, Linan. And I've looked at all these things that says banners and media assets and all that, but none of it allows us to play a video. So we're going to try a different method unless you know what we should be hitting here because we can't figure it out. Anyway, we're waiting just a couple of minutes because we want to make sure people are here. Any questions, any comments? Hello, Rebecca. Okay, thanks, Linan. I guess we could ask while we're waiting here, do people have any comments they want to make about this particular pattern? Whichever one you used. Marie from Virginia, hello. Thanks, Debbie. Yes, we appreciate the thumbs up. You can tell me how many we have. I can't even tell how many are in the chat.
24 people. 24.
24 people in the chat. Oh, there's I believe it's Fran. Oh yeah, she said Fran from Ohio. And there's Michelle. Hello.
A cotton yarn would be lovely for a summer shawl.
I'm happy to be here from Ontario.
I'm very curious from the knitters what they thought about the shape of the shawl.
Hello, Ellen. Electric hook Crafts by Janet. Oh, you weren't, I was just going to say, I don't recall getting anything from you, but you watched. Okay. And are you I'm going to guess you say hooked, you're a crocheter, Janet? But then maybe you do both. Adam, found the pattern well written, really enjoyed it. The interesting thing about, oh yes, she is a crocheter. Thanks, Janet. The interesting thing is, Adam, if you look at this designer's pages on Ravelry, Judy, are you seeing the screen with the mute stop? I have mute at the bottom and I have stop cam at the bottom. And then next it says settings. I looked at that. That wasn't much. You should see present. No, I don't have present there. I looked for that, Lynanne. Before the leave studio. No, I have mute, stop cam, settings, invite, and leave the studio. So maybe because I don't have a paid version, that little tab is missing. So I haven't decided I wanted to pay for it. I don't know how many lives I'm going to do. The Naked Snail, I forget your first name.
That's Demetra. Hi, Demetra.
That's Demetra? Oh, okay.
She's
You're
in
right.
Ontario.
She's
in Ontario.
Yes, I know that. When I know it's Demetra. You don't have the paid version either, and you have it. Could it be you're looking at it, Lynanne, on a laptop, and I'm looking at it on a iPad, and therefore tablets don't have that? Melissa, the pattern was easy to follow. I'm just not crazy about asymmetrical shells. Okay. I mean, everybody has their preferences to things they like. Anyway, I was saying, Adam, you said you like this designer. If you look at her pattern pages in Ravelry, she has a number of patterns, both knit and crochet. I didn't make note of them all. Hi, Anvita. But she has quite a few that have both that you could choose from. Nina says, yes, you're watching on a laptop, and that's probably the difference. So we're going to just do it the way we planned our backup, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. She was disappointed in the knit shape. Oh, that's you, Diane.
Me. Tammy asked me. So, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the knitted version.
Hi, Anvita, Adam. Yeah, I just had a quick look. I like that all the photos are in neutral colors. You get to see what each project looks like. Laura, the only problem I had was navigating Ravelry. I need to take time to learn. Well, you're going to be the first to hear this. I was going to say it on my video on Thursday. I went back into all my videos and I made some playlists. So who was it? Lori. Lori, if you go back to my home page and you see across the top, it says videos, playlists, and some other headings. If you hit playlists, you'll see a list of different playlists. And I made one playlist of my Ravelry tutorials. I did these Ravelry tutorials, I don't know, 2 years ago, I forget when, but there are 4 tutorials. And if you go through that, hopefully, Lori, that might help you, because I'm not affiliated in any way with Ravelry, and I'm not even a designer trying to sell anything there, but I do find Ravelry an excellent tool. I like how you have a library. I like how you can show your projects. I like that I can put things in a queue that I'm thinking I want to do. All of that kind of thing. So it is really worth your while to learn as much as you can about Ravelry. There are things I don't know in Ravelry, but I still like to use it, and I think it's worthwhile. So I have playlists, folks. Take some time to look at my various playlists. everything's not in a playlist, but quite a few things. Debbie's agreeing with you, Diane. It was a weird shape.
Yeah, but I haven't blocked mine yet, so we'll see. But totally, it just very, very different shape than the crochet one, which I preferred the crochet shaping, like the thinner, longer,
Yeah,
wider portion. So,
right.
ooh,
And I have another question while we're still waiting for people to join. And here's the playlist. I don't see it there, Adam. Did you copy and paste something there? Anyhow, whatever. The other question well, actually, I have two questions now that I think about it. Would you want to do this kind of mal again next year? In the summer, I do a straight cal, and I'll still do a straight cal, which is crochet only in the summer. That's what I started with. But last year was the first time I did this mixture to include everybody. Is this something you would want again? Another mal where we choose a knitted and a crochet version to work together? I only ask because our numbers are down from last year. Oh, okay, it's not available on iPads. Thank you, Lynn. I'd like to know people's feelings about, would you do this again next year? So we'll give you all a few minutes to say yes or no.
perhaps not a shawl pattern, maybe a completely different
Oh,
pattern.
well, I've changed the pattern every year. Last
Yeah,
year we did a biased wrap. This year we did an asymmetrical triangular wrap. Another year I might do a plain shawl, or if I could find it, I would even do a poncho if there was two of the same thing. Debbie says she likes doing a mal. Tammy said sure. Ellen says yes. Lori said she'd join again. Adam says yes, please. Denise said I'd like to try again next year. So it seems like you do like the idea, at least the people that are here. So, okay. Now, my last question, and then we'll get to why we're here. Last year when Gina and I did it, she opened a Facebook group, and all the conversation was in the Facebook group. I don't know that I know how to open a special Facebook group, and there are people that don't do Facebook. This year we did the chatter in Ravelry. Do you have a preference? Did you like, is both okay? Did you have any comments on that? I don't know how I would do Facebook. I'd have to do Ravelry. Are you okay with that? I'm
I could,
willing to help people learn more about Ravelry if that's the problem. So what's your feeling about that?
I could probably do the Facebook group,
You could? Okay.
probably.
Now, Tammy said, sure. Rebecca, she always likes it. Yes, didn't have time to participate this year. Tammy says Ravelry. Bonnie says, I don't do Facebook, not even for my relatives. Denise says both. Wendy, Facebook's a little more conversational. Ravelry is more posting after the fact. That was the second. There were two threads there, Lori. One you could chat in. The one for the pictures, we did it separate with no chat because it's easier to just have the pictures there when Diane was grabbing the pictures to make the video. Deb doesn't like Facebook, really. She thought Ravelry was fine. Lori says both. It looks like heavier in favor of Ravelry.
Well, perhaps we could do a couple small tutorials if we do it next year about here, literally showing here's how you post a photo,
Right.
here's how you create a
Well,
project, like
first
very
of
small
all,
snippets.
I think I would like to encourage everybody to go and check out my 4 Ravelry tutorials because it shows how to look up a pattern. It shows how to do a project page. It shows how to do the community where the chats are. I mean, it does all of that. And if people have a problem next year, I'll run through a quick summary or something for Ravelry. Okay, so I know you don't want to hang around here waiting all day. We want to get into the real thing. So we're going to start. I'm going to show my finished object, although if you were in Ravelry, you've seen it. And mine is, first of all, mine's shorter than they suggest because I just decided to stop. It was big enough, but it starts out small and you start your marled and you go to the next color and it gets wider and wider. And I don't know why the knitted one doesn't do that because in her picture, it sort of looks that way. But anyway, it got way out here and it's, you can't even see on the picture. It's quite wide. That, you know what, Diane? That's why we should have done this on your channel because you would have done it on the laptop and then we could have shown
I don't do it on anything on a laptop.
a
I
computer.
I do
Oh, you
everything on
do
my
it on your
phone.
phone.
Yeah, we have a very old laptop, so.
My laptop wouldn't handle it. It's way out of date. Yeah. So here's the one I did. That's called Wander Freely. And I did it as they said. I had 5 colors and I did it 2-stranded. And that's my one complaint about it. It's a DK weight and I'm more a fingering weight person. So it's a bit heavy, but there are people that would like that weight. So I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm happy with my colors. So now we're going to do this very different, people. Diane has the video on her iPad and I'm going to make her fill the screen and she is going to hold up her iPad and show you the video of the crochet only. We're doing crochet separate from the knit. Okay, we have 21 people that submitted a crochet. So Diane, I'm going to,
Okay.
how am I going to make you big? Let me go over here. Where do I go for the size of people? Okay, here we are. So, well, that didn't work. I did this the last time. That makes me big, but how do I make you big? Nope. What's the story here? If I hit you, solo layout, there you go. There you go.
Okay, I'm just going to put the volume up on my tablet because I had it turned off so there wasn't feedback. So bear with. Just going to put my volume up and I apologize if it's going to be too loud. And sideways here. Hold on. Hold the phone. Just going to pause that, mute that. We're professionals. Okay, I apologize if there's any glare on the screen because I have very large windows here. And let's give this a try.
Okay, a wee bit to your left, right there. Good. Okay.
Sorry if it was a bad glare, everyone.
It wasn't too bad, Diane. So how about the rest of you? What'd you think? They're all so different and beautiful. A lot of very beautiful colors. Diane Adams says your arms are going to be sore by the end of
I know.
this.
I felt like I was doing that thing where you lean up against a wall and you bend your knees because I'm like, ow, ow, and it's all. But Judy said she's going to post it on her channel after our live is done, both videos, just so it's a better. We're not professionals, right, Judy? We're just doing our best here.
We're learning as we go. We're flying by the seat of our pants. But this will, of course, be in replay afterwards. And then if you give me an hour or so, I'll do what I can to upload the 2 videos. You're going to see another one in a minute. I'll upload them with a little intro and whatever, and you can see them probably clearer. They're all beautiful. Was just going to ask if you could upload it on it. Yes,
Yeah,
Adam, I will. I'll do a separate video after this replay. That'll be there a little later today. I still have to make my notes for my video for Monday yet. So yeah.
Well, we were pretty good at getting the video over to Judy, and she had it downloaded, and this was our backup. So yeah, she can upload it, no problem.
Maybe down the road one day I'll get me a new iPad. Not a new iPad. I'm gonna need a new one of those too one day, but I'll get a new laptop, and then I'll be able to do all the things you're supposed to be able to do. Everyone did beautiful work. I love the pattern and I loved my yarn. There were a few color combos I'm going to use. Yeah.
I really enjoyed everyone's color combos because I found mine were too bland after I saw everybody else's choices.
Yeah, but I liked yours. And if you look at the original pattern, hers were very, what I would call muted. Beautiful shawls. I appreciate all the hard work putting this together. Oh yeah, well, whatever, you get what you get here. Okay, the next thing is that we're going to talk about the knitted one, and Diane is going to show us her finished object.
Yes. Did you block? I was just had a question. Did you block yours, Judy?
No.
Have you blocked yours? Okay, I haven't blocked mine either.
But then mine, I was happy with the shape and it wasn't really curling or anything like that. I can see where you might want to block it to pull it down so that it's a little narrower. But you know what? If you really look at it laid flat, to me, it looks like a shawl shape, and you could wear it triangular like a shawl. I've seen people do that with an asymmetrical triangle.
Okay, so I do like the fabric that the 2 fingering held together made, like a DK weight. I did like it. And the pattern itself I found was easy to follow. I would continually not every row, but I was counting my stitches just to be on the safe side that I was on the right track, because sometimes, I didn't do the 1 increase when you slipped it at the beginning there, or I feel like I made this so long ago, I don't remember the details of the pattern. But the disappointed part for me was the size and the shape. As I mentioned, I really enjoyed the crocheted shape. And when I have the pattern here, when I look at the size that it suggests that it will be, now I didn't do a gauge and I didn't count my stitches to see what my gauge was going to look like. I used the same recommended needle size, which was 4.5. It says, where am I? That the after blocking, but I don't know how this is going to happen for me, 87 inches in length and 30 6 inches wide. Well, measuring mine before blocking, I have 62 inches in length. So that's 25 inches difference. I did the entire pattern and I have 41 inches in width. So what does that mean? Am I a tight knitter? Like, I don't know what
Yeah,
that
but it's
means.
wider than she says. So that,
No, it's it's supposed to be 87 inches and oh yeah, it's wider,
the
but it's
wider.
not as long. So I'm gonna stretch the
Stretch the heck
pants,
out of it.
gonna stretch the pants off of this and see what happens because I want it to be like I personally am not a shawl wearer myself. I did do the wrap last year. I like the wrap a little bit better because it was, I didn't measure it recently, but it was wider and I felt you could do more things with it. Where this, the width, anyway, let's look at it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I don't know how well we're gonna see it. Again, I used pretty much a type of yarn that was very, it went well together. It was almost like it was a fade, the Polka Dot Creek Canada Day yarn. And I'm not sure how, I really liked how they melded together. But again, I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna stand up, but maybe can you put me full screen, Judy? I don't know if that would help.
We don't see any more. It doesn't,
Yeah, sorry.
it doesn't open it. It just makes you bigger.
So
I like the colors of it. I think it's a very nice fade.
and it is a gift for my cousin, and I know she's gonna love it. I just want this part wider for or maybe I'm sorry, it should be this part. This part would be the wider part because it basically goes into it, to me, a basic triangle. So I really like the skinniness of the crochet version a lot more. And I don't know how it turned out such a different size. But I followed the pattern directions. I always was counting my stitches. I also found it ate up a lot more yarn than the recommended amount of yarn it said it was going to take. I was kind of
Which leads
concerned.
me to believe that she's a tight knitter and you're a loose knitter.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a loose or a tight knitter. I didn't think I had to do a gauge because it wasn't like a tight
Right.
wearable. It
That's
was
right. I don't do gauges unless it's maybe a sweater, and then I don't do it there either.
Yeah, so
Anyhow.
it's beautiful. I will eventually block it. My cousin's birthday isn't until June, so I want to, yeah, I will report back on my channel if it actually gets wider, but I don't think there's absolutely any way I can make it 25 inches wider or longer than it currently is. Like
Yeah.
that's a
And
lot.
others are agreeing with you about the shape, Diane. They had the same thing happen.
And the way she has it worn in the photos, I know in the crochet one, she had tied some knots on the narrow.
Yeah, I could do that here. Yeah.
And I think she had that on the knit one too, because she kind of had it worn the same way. But I mean, I'm not upset about it. It's not what I thought it was going to be.
Right, right.
If that makes sense. So.
Okay. So we're now going to see the video. We'll give Diane a minute to get that open. And she's going to show the video because I've got her as the only one here. And it's shorter. There were only 10 people that did knit.
11, including me. And I want to do a shout out to Heather, who did both knit and crochet. Very impressed with you.
Heather in Ontario.
Yeah. Yes. I wasn't sure where she was from, and Judy.
She's in Oshawa, actually.
Okay, let's try this again.
Yeah, Ellen, that may be a good idea. Don't increase as often. That's what she suggests.
Oh.
Oh, there's Heather. Hi, Heather.
Yes,
I didn't see you earlier. She's here.
I saw she was here earlier. Now I want to go back. How do I go back?
And Diane didn't know your name, so she went by the email, and that's why your name comes up the way it does.
Well, it said Heather Catherine. So, oops, hold on. Sorry, guys.
We had two Heathers, so we had to distinguish. I knew the difference, so on the wheel, I put your initial.
Okay, ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Sorry for
There
the
we go. Can't really hear the music.
Oh, you can't?
Oh, a little bit there. Okay.
Short and sweet.
Great job, everybody. I want to comment on the colors for one person. Lori in PEI. I think when you
Beautiful.
first showed your colors, I thought, oh, I don't know if my reaction was that's an awful lot of green or I don't like those greens, but I have to tell you, it turned out lovely. It was a really nice fade. It's one of my more favorite ones of what I saw. I liked a lot of them, people. Don't get me wrong. It just, I remember having a reaction to Lori's yarns at the beginning and then thinking how lovely it turned out.
Is it because you're not a big yellow person and you're kind of
No,
familiar
hers are
with green?
greens. And
Yeah.
they were definite greens, but
And I think when you're holding two different strands together, it really,
yeah,
if you have enough of a contrast, it really is changing the look a lot.
yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Like a lot, I think they were all great. And I was like, why didn't I do those colors? Why didn't I kept thinking that every time I saw someone's shawl, like, wow, really, because it's hard when you just put them up against each other. But when I think the marling together really did make
Makes a
such a
difference.
beautiful effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Because my one thinking was I didn't have nice colors that faded together. I had 5 very distinct colors. So the 2 purples were kind of close, but I didn't have a nice fade. And I really was disappointed that I didn't have it. But when you marled them together, it definitely did look better. And in the second half, I marled it in a different order. I didn't do ABCD and then do ABCD again. I changed the order. And I am actually happy with the colors as it is. I still would have liked to have had some colors that kind of faded, but it's okay. It turned out fine.
One thing
Uh,
I noticed that was different in the knit than the crochet, from what I understand, because I didn't really read the crochet pattern in detail, and I'm not a crocheter, was after you did your initial 5 colors, you didn't start back at this, like for the knit one, I believe it was, I have it here. I think we went to like B and we didn't start back at A, but I think in the crochet one, you went back to
yes, we
A.
went back to
So
A,
it was
but
a
it could
little
have
bit,
been a typo in the
yeah, it was a
knit.
little bit of a different color combination. And the B was the yarn that I was worried about, that I wasn't going to have enough yarn. And
Oh,
after it was all said and done, I only had 20 grams left. But on her pattern, it said it only used 215 yards, and I used a 463 yard hank. So I don't know
that's
how.
the one concern I have about her patterns is it seems like measurements made no sense. I don't know why
Yeah,
that is.
the held together aspect didn't really jive properly.
I didn't pay a lot of attention to how much she said you'd use of each one. I don't usually look at that when I'm all done and they say, oh, you use 315 yards of this and I've used something different, because I know that I always use more because I am a loose crocheter. When I look at my work, I don't think it's loose, but I know it must be loose by having looked at it in the past and using more than they say. But one other thing we could do different next year is we could, I don't know if this would be feasible, it might be an added problem for us, but we could pick maybe 2 or 3 different possibilities and people tell us which would be the one they'd prefer to do. We'd all do the same thing, but we might have, say if we had a poncho and a blanket and a shawl, with 2 versions of each. Is that putting too much problem out there? I mean, we'd probably get a sort of mixed bag and a third would vote for everyone and then we'd still have to choose, right?
Yeah, well, Judy, you and I have been talking a lot about minis and what are we going to do with all of our minis. And I would really love to see a project that involves minis or scrap yarn that you have. I am not a big shawl or wrap wearer myself. I have my one wrap from last year, which I love, but I would personally love to see a blanket or a poncho. I would get behind a poncho myself, but I would
I'm
just like
not a
to see,
blanket person. I mean,
yeah,
I'm making them for the donation pile, but to make a blanket, I'm already making one. And I don't know what I would do with another blanket. I don't know what I'm going
yeah.
to do with the one I have that I'm
And
making.
it would take longer to make a blanket as
Yeah,
well.
we couldn't do it in a month and a half for sure,
But I think
unless we did a lap one or something.
I
Um,
think thinking
I
about,
like the idea of the
yeah,
minis, but I
yeah.
don't think you're going to find 2 patterns, identical knit and crochet, that uses minis.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to, I think
I
if we did a poncho and we
I
did,
have an idea for making a poncho. Kathy and I talked about this, and I'm hopefully going to make it later in the year. And maybe I'll run it by you and you could do the knit version. I'm sure you could take what I do and make it knitted. But then you got to write a pattern to give it to the people. And neither one of us are pattern writers.
Tammy's suggesting we make a sweater.
No way, Tammy.
What
That
about
would
a
be too much.
swancho? Is that a name, a swancho, which the sweater poncho combo? Like it's
Yeah,
kind
you
of
make it like a poncho, but at the end,
like
at the
sleeves.
edge, you put sleeves in it, so it's a swancho.
I like a
Yeah, right.
swancho idea. Would you wear a swancho, Adam?
And you know what? There's a lot of people probably in the group that aren't up to making sweaters, and sweaters are they're not necessarily an easy thing to do. We could do, but you'd have to choose your own stitch. You could do a poncho. I've seen them make ponchos that are just rectangular, 2 rectangles put together here. So they hang like a rectangle with an opening for your head.
I think
You could do that with minis.
if we opened it up to a lot of like certain things, like you could do a blanket or a poncho or a shawl, but use your minis. I mean,
Oh,
to go
so it's a
have to, like,
mini Mal.
I don't know, mini
How
mouse
do you
sounds
feel
cool.
about everybody making something different? What if, we
I
could
think
do
it's
this
too hard to
poncho
use up
idea
minis.
where some did stripes and some did squares. You could knit it or crochet, but we're all making sort of the same shape. But you could choose whether you did it striped or squared or whatever, and you used minis. How many of you out there? I mean, Diane and I have a ton of minis because we do Advent at Christmas, and we're going to do Christmas in July. And
Too
I've bought
many.
Adam's minis for a couple of years. How many of you have a lot of minis and need a project for them? I'd like to hear that. How many?
Yeah, let's see in the chat. I love the name Mini Mal. I love that name. We're
Oh, really?
copyrighting that
Okay.
right now in this video. Don't anybody can use it, but we're using.
Okay. How many have lots of minis? See, I don't have any minis, the first person says.
But you
I
could
don't
use
have any
scrap.
minis, the second person says. Could
You
be
have scrap
scraps, it could be,
yarn
but I
from,
have
say
tons.
if
I
you always
do,
use,
and make your own would be great.
can
Some
I
kind of make your own mal. I don't have a lot of minis, but I do have scraps. I have some. Pick your own poncho pattern. I have a lot of minis. I don't have minis, but I have a lot of scrap. I have lots of minis. Hey, and if we warned you ahead that next year's a mini mal, I guess you could collect minis. Scraps would have to have a ceiling. So in other words, scraps that are half a ball and are 50 grams, I don't call that a mini, but save up your leftovers that are like maybe 20, 25 grams and less.
but that's if they're using fingering weight. Like some people don't maybe generally use fingering weight. So say if you're a 4-weight acrylic knitter or crocheter, why couldn't they make a project in their desirable thing if they have enough scraps to do so?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get at is small scraps means you have to change more often. People have scraps that are like,
Oh, I know, but 25 grams in a 4-weight is a very different amount than 25 grams in a fingering
this
weight.
is a scrap, but this scrap would, like if we're doing stripes, instead of getting a mini stripe like this, I'd get a stripe like this. You wouldn't be changing much. It wouldn't look scrappy, is what I'm getting at. And you know what? When they sell yarn, they sell 100 grams of DK, they sell 100 grams of fingering. When you buy minis, you get 20 grams of DK and 20 grams of fingering. They weigh the same. DK goes farther than in for the same number of yards. How about I use more DK than anything, that's fine. Maybe make it a scrappy mal. I like mini mal better.
Yeah, but as long as the mini is a partial ball of yarn, like DK, I think I would probably knit it in DK and hold 2 of my minis together because I just got to use up my minis.
I
Like, I got
just know that some people call a scrap something that may have only used, they call that a scrap. Well, that goes a whole lot farther than one of my minis would go, because first of all, it's a heavier weight, it goes farther, and second of all, it's a big part of the ball. You know what I'm getting at? Their scraps may not be scrappy.
I guess we'd have to weigh various weights to see what is a 20 gram in a DK, how much yardage is 20 grams in DK, how much is it in fingering, and some people might just use 4-weight, how much is it in there? And you could break that up. That is considered technically a scrap, that ball you just showed, but you could use it in 3 sections within your project, not all in one section like a wide stripe.
I get it. It's still not, in my mind, it's not as scrappy. That's just my feeling. If 3 minis to be equal to that, it's not as scrappy. But you know what? It's something we can talk about, or we can just find a pattern that there's 2 versions of. There's a little less flying all over the place. It's a little more controlled than what we're talking right now. So use 20 grams of scraps. That's what I say, Debbie. They have to be about 20 to 25. They aren't going to measure exact. And all of your scraps would be about the size of a mini, and go from there.
Hope y'all like weaving in ends.
Yeah, that's the thing when you do minis. Anyway, let's get on with the business at hand here. It's getting late. And I never thought to get out. I'm sorry, I don't have a visual to show you, but somebody is going to win a skein of yarn. I'm sorry, it will likely, well, it might be DK, but I have very limited DK, so it's more likely going to be a fingering weight. You know, I have, from watching me long enough, I have lots of very nice quality yarn. Somebody will get a skein of yarn. So here's our magic wheel. I guess I should make me big for a second here.
And all the knitting and crochet are in one, right?
Yeah. Lori
Oh,
M. So that's the Lori that's in PEI.
yeah, with the green shawl.
Yeah, yeah. So Lori,
Congratulations.
you best email me to be on the safe side and give me your mailing address because I can't remember if I have it or I don't have it. I think I do, but just to be on the safe side, please email me, Lori, with your mailing information, and I'll get a skein of yarn out to you in the mail at the beginning of next week. And I guess we can just wrap it up by saying that we will plan something for next year around about the same time period. And in the meantime, I would strongly suggest people that aren't comfortable with Ravelry do look up the playlist that I have. The playlist that I have about using Ravelry, and possibly in the first week or so of it, I could do a small video of people have a lot of problems. And also I will, this will go into replay. And then later today, there'll be a second video that talks about the mal, and it will show those two videos again, just in case you had trouble seeing the pictures. You're welcome, Debbie. I think we enjoyed doing it. Oh, Lenan has posted the playlist with the I'm guessing the Ravelry tutorials.
You rock.
And that
Yeah.
is what I do, Adam. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't make balls.
Adam suggested we do make a ball or a cake with all our scraps, like a magic knot ball. I've always been concerned that the knots would come apart.
I'm not putting any
I've never
knots
done
in
them.
my work. And
But you
again,
can do it.
I mean, people can do that, but I don't think I want to do it in crochet or a mal, but that is what I do. Yeah, people can do that. Thanks, Laura, and congrats. Thank you, ladies. We appreciate it. Glad you could all join us, and we hope to see you in the next one. We definitely will do it again. People seem to enjoy it, and hopefully we get a little bigger crowd next year, but this was manageable, so that's good. So if you have any other suggestions, concerns, questions, I guess you can email them to either one of us. But I think you did ask your questions. Yes, definitely, people. You need to come back on Monday. We're going to get a slideshow of your items for, what month is this? March. The March Mal slideshow is on Monday. I still have to do it. I haven't made my notes or anything. And also to see the color for April. So if there's nothing else, I guess I'll end the stream. Bye, everybody. Glad to see you here. Bye now.